I look normal. Pale. What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're gonna do a little build breakdown of the SR, but before we get into that, I just wanted to let you guys know that I am going to upload on Tuesdays and Fridays instead of Tuesdays and Thursdays. Since I'm only uploading twice a week, it kind of makes more sense to spread them out a little bit more. I mentioned it really briefly on my Instagram. If you don't follow me in there, go into the description, it's there. It's just at 240 Travis, super easy. So I figured we're gonna do this, step away from the SR for a little bit. I'm waiting on parts anyways. Go check out the last video that was put up on Friday to see what parts I'm waiting on. Shameless plug. Okay, so let's get into it. I have them all written down in front of me. I'm not gonna go super specific on the stuff that I need to explain why I went with this item, and it's not obvious I'll talk about it, but it's pretty basic. Okay, so I'm gonna try and do this from like bottom up, if that makes sense, and then out to the side because I'm going to include the turbo and stuff like that. To start, I got a Greddy high capacity oil pan. It holds like 5 liters. Let's Google it really quick, 1 sec. Okay, so after a quick Google, it holds 4.5 quarts of oil. So in liters for Canadian friends or Canadian subscribers, 4.5 quarts is 4.26 liters. So it holds a bit more oil. It also has baffles, and it has a port for an oil temp sensor. Wow, I didn't know that. That is awesome. I actually had no idea. The reason I went with a higher capacity oil pan is because holding more oil isn't a bad thing, especially with a fully built motor. You tend to get a bit more blow by. I think it's because the ring gaps tend to be a bit bigger, so it's better to have more oil in there. Next thing on the list is an S15 oil pickup. So when I say S15 oil pickup, I mean it's an S15 SR20 oil pickup, so a notch top SR. Like, oil pickup is what goes into your oil pan. It picks up your oil, filters a little bit of it because it has a little mesh. The reason I went with an S15 SR one, a notch top one, is because they, I believe, sit lower in the pan. So when if you start running low on oil for whatever reason, or if you're splashing around a lot in turns, in drifting, and anything, it's lower down. So even if it splashes, like say it's sitting here, the oil pickup's here, if it splashes like this, oil pickup still right here, sort of thing. You know what I mean? It also has baffles to stop splashing, so that's good. Next thing on the list is ACL bearings, main and rod. So the main bearings and the rod bearings, which go around your crankshaft, under your rod for your piston. They're ACL race or sport, I can't remember what they're called. I think they're ACL race bearings, they're called. They're just better quality. ACL thrust washers, those go on the outside of your crankshaft, pretty sure. So the next thing is I got Eagle rods with ARP rod bolts. So they're fully forged rods with stronger bolts to hold them together, everything like that. So they're performance, not this, they're actually performance. And then I got, I don't know how to say this, I can't remember, CP pistons, which stands for Carrillo? CP Carrillo? CP, they're CP pistons. They are an 8.6 to 1 compression ratio, and they are 86.5 millimeters in diameter. So they're 20 thou over the stock diameter, so the cylinders were bored out 20 thou to fit these. The reason I went with a lower compression piston is because with lower compression you can run higher boost. So originally I bought a Tomei blah 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 1.2 millimeter head gasket so that it would also lower the compression a little bit, and then I went with the 8.6 to 1 pistons. Fast forward like 5-6 months, they deck the head, they deck the block, they go to put everything together, and the head gasket isn't thick enough. There wasn't enough clearance for the valves and the piston heads. So I had to up to a Tomei 87 mil, 1.8 mil metal head gasket. In hindsight, if I knew I was gonna have to get a 1.8 mil head gasket, I would have gone with the 9 or 9.1 to 1 compression pistons, because I don't want my compression being as low as it is. It's not the end of the world, I can run higher boost, but I lose a lot of low end torque, which SRs are notorious for not having already. So that kind of sucks. So yeah, I have the head gasket. Moving on, I have the BC head package off Injuku Racing, which is an amazing deal. If you haven't ever seen it, if you're an SR person, just look at it, it's awesome. So it has BC titanium springs, titanium valves, and titanium spring retainers. When you buy this, you actually have the option of getting 264 or 272 cams. I went with the 264s because I just wanted like a plug and play drop in. I didn't want to have to get the adjustable cam sprockets at the time because I don't know, I just didn't want to. So I got the 264 cams because they're just drop in. It'll have a bit of a low idle, which, I mean, hey, it sounds pretty cool, so I'm okay with that. But yeah, so I bought that off in Juku, and it was like, I don't know, $990. It was just shy of $1,000 American. And I personally think that's a pretty good deal for a full head package, or full of like valve train basically. Along with the springs, valves, retainers, I also have BC valve guides. They sit in place and that's where your valve goes in, and this just looks wrong. Anyways, so I just have OEM valve seals. They were the best fitting. I originally ordered SuperTech and I don't know what went wrong there. They didn't fit for some reason, but OEM ones fit fine, so I mean, I'm not complaining. OEM's still good. So above, well, I guess below the cams, I have Tomei rocker arm stoppers. If you're not familiar with these, the SRs have rocker arms, so that's what compresses and lifts up and down on your springs, which control your valves. Super common problem for SRs. In higher RPMs, they tend to break rocker arms. This isn't necessarily going to stop them from breaking, but it's going to stop them from pinging around if they break and destroying other stuff inside the valve train, from my understanding at least. So that's pretty much the whole inside of the motor. The motor was put together by a local machine shop. As much as I like working on cars and everything like that, I don't have the experience to be putting together like a built motor and everything like this. I don't know some of the basic stuff. I don't know like how to measure certain clearances for this and that, and I don't know how much this needs to be machined or that needs to be machined. So they did all the machining. They did a great job. It took a while, but I'd rather it take a while than just be rushed and put together, so that when it comes time to start the car for the first time, something goes wrong. Knock on wood that it doesn't now, after waiting as long as I did. But so yeah, they did everything. They hot tanked the block, hot tanked the head, decked the block, decked the head, overboard the block by 20 thou, checked all my clearances for my shims in my valve, like my valve springs, my shims. They re-shimmed the whole motor, changed out all the hydraulic lifters. Everything has been done to the inside of this motor that's been able to be done. It's got all new, brand new parts, the water pump, the oil pump. Pretty much the only stock parts left on the motor itself is the block, the head, the valve cover, and the crank pulley. That's it. So moving on to kind of the accessories part of things, the extras, the fun, boosty, big boost stuff. Obviously you guys know from the last video, I have a Garrett GT 2871R. It has a 0.56 trim and a 0.6 AR, and those numbers mean nothing to me. I have no idea. I was just told to order it because it spools nicely on SRs. I have a Tomei turbo manifold. You know about that. Again, if you haven't seen the last video, none of this is going to make sense if I keep saying it again. Go check it out. So yeah, I have a better spool with that manifold, so it was worth it. So I have an AEM True Boost controller along with an AFR gauge. There's going to be a video actually that I'm going to be doing. I'm probably going to film it pretty soon. I may or may not have broken my boost gauge before I even ever got to use it, so I'm going to have a video on fixing that, because now realistically I'm probably the only one that's ever done it, but it'll be funny. So from the turbo back, have a full 3-inch straight pipe to 4-inch dual blast pipe tips. It's going to have the full 3-inch straight pipe. The down pipe I'm going to be running is the Powered by Max PBM or Parts by Max. Powered or Parts by Max? I don't know, one of the two. I think it's Powered by Max Cobra down pipe. It's awesome. The reason I specifically want to run this one is because off the back of the turbo, you don't have to have a turbo elbow and then the rest of the down pipe. Unusual setups, you have the turbo here, then you're going to have a turbo elbow, and then you're going to have a down pipe which goes to your cat, your test pipe, your mid pipe. This one will eliminate a gasket from the turbo elbow to the down pipe by being all in one, which is one less gasket that I have to worry about blowing out. So that's awesome because I've always had troubles with exhaust gaskets blowing out on me. I don't think I need to remind you of the videos from the introduction video, but you would know why if you watch that one. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. So some other basic stuff for the motor. It's got an ISR fuel pressure regulator. So I just also picked up an Aeromotive Stealth E85 compatible 340 liters per hour fuel pump. I'm not going to be running E85 right away. I'm not set up. The fuel lines and everything have to be changed for it. But I do want to run that probably next year because, let's be honest, I haven't driven my car in almost just under a year. I don't want to have to change fuel lines and do all that. I want to be able to enjoy it. An E85 is expensive in Canada, so I'm preparing for future E85 use, but for now it'll just be pump gas. So it's also got P2M coil packs. I'm a little unsure about these. I ordered them because they were on sale on Black Friday. I've heard good things, I've heard bad things about using aftermarket coil packs. A lot of people run the OEM ones. If they start causing a misfire, then I'll switch back to OEM or I'll find a better set. A lot of people run LS coil pack. So other basic stuff, I have a Mishimoto radiator and fan setup, 2 dual 10-inch fans. They treat me well, keep the car nice and cool. Also picked up a Greddy Greddy Truss front mount intercooler. I had just a CX Racing one on there and I messed it up one night. It got in a fight with a curb. So I ordered that and then I blew the car up right before I was planning on actually putting it on and getting it fit. So another thing I have is a Spec Stage 2 Plus clutch kit. I went with this one because according to Injuku's website, the description of it, which I'm assuming comes from Spec themselves, is that it remains drivable on the street. It has the same feel as a Stage 2 clutch kit, but the Plus, it can hold up to more foot-pounds of torque. So I'm just looking at the Stage 2 one because it doesn't actually say on the Stage 2 Plus, but the Stage 2 can handle up to 415 foot-pounds of torque. So I'm assuming it would probably be somewhere in the middle of the Stage 2 and Stage 3. The Stage 3 is good for 515 foot-pounds of torque. So if we ballparked it, say like 450 foot-pounds of torque, which is more than my SR will most likely make ever, because SRs have no torque. I just went with the Stage 2. Another reason I didn't want to go Stage 3 is because I'm not a fan of 6-puck clutches. Specs Stage 3 is a 6-puck. It's sprung. I like the idea of them and how hard they clamp and everything like that, but for driving it around town and all that, it just, I don't know, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. So yeah, full face clutch, and that is pretty much it. It's got the stock intake manifold, you know that. It's weird, when I look at it on the list and I read it off the list, it makes it feel like it's a super basic build. But yeah, I think that's all I have for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like if you're excited to see all of this stuff that I've told you about turn into amazing turbo noises, high boost, and hopefully a lot of power. And like I always say, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.